And it's crazy to see myself in a game, you know, coming up as a kid playing the fighting games and boxing games and football, just any sports game, just to see yourself, you know, to be able to play yourself. It's crazy to me. Still to this day, you know, sometimes I can't even believe that I'm actually in the game. But, you know, dreams do come true. Reality sets in and, you know, we're here.
And the last thing we're going to speak about, before we do speak about it, I'm just going to let you show this to the camera, Dom. This is a Canelo Crawford Super Fight Special Edition that the Ring magazine, basically, it's their magazine basically. So that's what they printed, and you could only get that on Fight Night. I don't believe you can get it anywhere else unless they're selling it on their website. But yeah, so I'm going to give that away.
I'll keep hold of that, yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to give that away to one lucky winner. If you join our WhatsApp group, I don't know how we're going to give it away, but I'll think of something. But if you join our WhatsApp group, the link's in the comments. We're doing a lot of giveaways. I think we've done about 8 or 9 giveaways in the last couple of weeks. So yeah, join us on the WhatsApp group. The link is in the comments. Chris EUBANK Jr., the press conference yesterday, a couple of days ago, they announced a rematch with Conor Benn. Chris was in his element again. What did you make of him? He obviously did the opening speech and he did his best to wind Eddie Hearn up. And what did you kind of make of that exchange? He went in and started talking about Eddie basically stopping the ambulance from leaving the stadium when he needed to go to the hospital. Well, I'll let you talk about that bit first.
Well, it's funny because my kids use the phrase rage bait, don't they? When I start getting onto them and they're winding me up and you don't see it, and it's like, you know, Eddie's been at the top of the game for so long. You know, his dad's been at the top of the game for so long. They've got their own Netflix series. It's going to be very, very difficult for the likes of Eddie Hearn to get out of his own ego. And obviously EUBANK's got an ego, but he can probably kind of put it in perspective. He's kind of developed as the years have gone on, EUBANK. He used to be a lot quieter the days of him being on Channel 5. And over time he's realised now with social media opening his mouth and getting himself known and being able to verbally tie people up, it's working for him. And he's kind of used Eddie against himself, because Eddie has got this impression of himself that he's done all this stuff in boxing and he should be respected and whatever. And you know, there's nothing worse to an egomaniac with somebody dissing him or putting him down or not, you know, saying they're relevant, and it probably winds Eddie up. You know, he probably thinks that he should get respect off everybody. And EUBANK does that to a T and does it very well. So, you know, I don't think Eddie knows how to play him. It's like a battle of wills. And really the only way to beat EUBANK Jr. is not really to engage with him. He's not to get drawn in. He's just to laugh and go, yeah, whatever. But Eddie feels he should have his say because he's obviously part of the promotion. He's got Conor Benn. You know, so he feels that he should have his say like he always has with these promotions and, you know, like he has with the big fights. But getting dismissed by EUBANK is going to be the biggest kick in the teeth. And really, Eddie should just take it in his stride, because I don't think, you know, he's verbally smart enough to get topside of Chris EUBANK, because EUBANK just throws random stuff in what don't really make sense half of the time. And he kind of deflects Eddie off the way he's supposed to be thinking, because you're not having a sensible conversation with EUBANK. He just throws stuff in there randomly. He's like the rich man's Tyan Booth, isn't he?
That's quite a good comparison, actually. But no, he is a genius with his words. He then went on and moved to Rob Smith, and he described him in many ways, but he ultimately called him a scumbag.
Who's Rob Smith?
The British Boxing Board Secretary.
Right.
Robert Smith, he basically called him a scumbag and basically talked about how he's been fined, and he questioned where the money's gone. He goes, you know, we've got a right to know where this money's getting spent, etc. That's the point he was making, but obviously he went down the route of personal insults as well. So I'm pretty sure there'll be another fine coming from that.
Well, that's, you know, I've known Robert Smith a long, long time. He's got a very, very difficult job. He's been in the position when he first started out, the Boxing Board of Control, they got everything working smoothly. They've been through a lot of ups and downs. Obviously bankrupt at one time, Frank Warren bailed them out, or promoters did. So they've been through a lot, and times are changing for the border control. They're getting sued more. They're getting, you know, more responsibility. They've had stuff with medical issues, and you know, having to police boxing in this day and age, especially with social media, is very difficult. And you know, I've had a lot of run-ins with Robert Smith over the years, but I've always found him to be, what can I say, fair to a certain degree. I understand his position. It's one of the hardest jobs in boxing, being the secretary of the British Border Control. His dad was a manager back in the day. I think he managed Dave Boy Green. So Robert's got a connection to boxing way back. And like I say, I've been fined loads of times, not to the extent of or the amounts of what EUBANK has, but then, you know, it's all relative.
Would you want to know where that money's going when you've been
the money from fines usually goes into the boxers fund for whatever.
Yeah, but this is what I mean. This is, I think, what people question. Where are these?
No, you can.
Can we see
it's a private
proof
company.
of it?
No, yeah, you can. You can go to business. It's a limited company, the Boxing Border Control. So you can see, go to company's house, you can see where all the money is. So much in pensions, so much in boxers funds. It's all there listed. You get it sent every year. Okay. So if you want to look, you can find out where the money is. Yeah.
There you go. That's because a lot of fans obviously, because I don't know if you know,
it's just ridiculous to think that Robert Smith's putting in his pocket. They don't do that.
I don't think he suggested that. I think it's more a case of
it's all listed. It's a limited. If anybody's got any sense, it's a limited company. Right, and you can see where the money goes. So the money goes into the various, you know, things that the board have got.
I think people, well, from what Chris, he just said he wants to see where it's going rather than just
get online and look at company's house, and it shows you where the assets are and everything. Yeah. You don't forget that they've got to run a business. Like, do you know why there's nobody else setting up an organisation to run boxing in Britain apart from the border control? Because it's a bloody hard job. Do you understand? Everybody, it's like having 300 kids who are all brothers and sisters going to the parents saying he's done this and he's done that. It's not fair. They've got to police it somehow, and you've got to abide. Like awful stuff I don't like what they do. There's things I could argue about. My dad were always having fallouts with not just Robert Smith, people before him. You know, the Simon Block was one. There's been loads of secretaries of the Border Control, and you're always going to have difficulties because it's always somebody sending in a complaint and they're having to police everybody and make sure everybody's happy. It's not the easiest job in the world, but you need the Border Control to have some kind of control, well, obviously control in it, because otherwise it'd just be mayhem.
So I think his main gripe is the fact that he got fined 100k. I think from the last time I heard they're appealing that. Was that, in one word, rather than talking about it, was that 100k fine fair for an egg slap? Or was it too much, or was it too less?
Well, did I say it was going to be about 100 grand? I think I did.
Yeah, you did, yeah.
Because that's about...
is it fair though?
Yeah, because if you look back, you look back, and might be able to Google this. I was at a press conference years ago when Mark Kaler boxed Errol Christie. They had a fight outside of the casino, and I think Mark Kaler tried to chuck Errol Christie into the fountain, and he got fined a ridiculous amount of money for the time, 20 or 30 grand, I think. Back in, I might be 18 years old, we're talking 40 years ago.
Wow.
So boxing's you know, got its detractors anyway. People are trying to get it banned. Oh, they shouldn't be doing this. You've got these boxers don't realise what job the board have to do to fend these people off. Oh, they shouldn't be having getting punched. Boxing should be banned in the UK. You know, it's not just dealing with boxers what the board have to do. You know, they have to deal with lots of other stuff outside of boxing, but related to boxing. So it's a difficult job, and it's not a job you want to do. And Robert Smith, you know, unfortunately, he's coming to this. He's been in charge of the boxing border control probably for, I'd say, it's got to be the last 20, 25 years, I think, maybe more. He'll be coming to retirement soon. I bet he's going to be glad, but. It's come to the point where it's gone from, in this last 25 years, has probably been the biggest shift in boxing over the last 10, 15 years than it's ever been in boxing. And he's had to deal with that. He's had to adjust with a lot of stuff. Social media, he didn't have that years ago. You didn't have all these other stuff happening. But the egg slap, yeah, well, they shouldn't be doing it. It shouldn't be. Boxing's supposed to be a respectful game. And hitting somebody in the face with an egg, you know, it could have jeopardised the fight. Anything could have happened. And it is kind of disregarding, you know, the rules of boxing. I mean, the boxing are trying to portray that boxing is a sport, it's a gentleman's sport, so to speak. We'll finish it, we'll sort this out by his hands. It's like kind of bringing slapstick and pantomime and comedy into it. For what? You know, you got to, these rules have been applied for the last 30 or 40 years. Where would it be if the board didn't do this? Everybody would be doing it.
Well, how's this bit now? So obviously I was looking at all the social media trends and all the comments across the platforms from that press conference the other day. We've seen a big shift in Chris Eubank Jr.'s the public perception. He has been portrayed as a villain and he's now seen as a hero, and he basically, it's crazy. I think 90% of the comments were all pro Eubank, people loving what he said, cheering him on, all that kind of stuff. And it does seem like what he was saying against Rob Smith and Eddie was more like being a wind-up merchant and trying to poke him, and eventually, obviously, Eddie bit, and I don't know if Robert's bit yet, but either way, that's what it seemed like he was doing, and obviously did his thing. So what I'm going to ask you, Dom, is, in your eyes, has he become from a villain to a hero?
No, he's not.
Like, do you enjoy watching him more than...
He's not gone from
like his character?
He's not gone from a villain to a hero. He's gone from a villain to a supervillain, so to speak. And people like supervillains, don't they? You know, that's what they do, because, oh yeah, he's causing a stir. People like that kind of excitement. They like somebody standing up to authority, and he's got more confidence as time's gone on. Eubank, as he's got more money, he can afford to be sued, so to speak, and he can afford to have legal cases and challenge him, because he's in that position, and you can probably get people to help him with that. So you can open your mouth more, because we couldn't stand an £100,000 fine, could we? We'd be finished. So we have to keep his mouth shut. But you find people...
You might be all right with it.
Huh?
You might be all right with it.
Yeah, but no, I won't be all right with it, no. But that's the thing. For what? For the... He'll just, you know, you can imagine a lot of stuff that Chris has said. He'll be calculating in his mind and thinking, oh, well, so that'll get 100,000 fine, but I'll be making 500,000 off this, or making... It's like, it's just how much money you want to lose. It's like when I think, you know, not coming on weight or whatever and missing it and having to pay fines. Some people can absorb that. And like I say, as time's gone, if you find now he's getting into bigger fights, and there's less bigger fights happening. You know what I mean? It's like in England, especially, you know, like Anthony Joshua hasn't boxed for over a year. So realistically, who have we got for the big fights? Who have we got? We've got Chris Eubank and Conor Benn. Who else have we got for the big fights in the UK?
There's quite a few actually coming up.
What on that level?
So I'll just give you a quick rundown. So. We've got October the 11th, obviously you've got Dave Allen, Mike Mudov.
Yeah, but that's not the same level as...
Fabio Wardley, Joseph
Not
Parker.
the same level.
Boatsi.
Not the same level.
Who else have we got? Eubank Jr. Ben. Then the week after we've got obviously showing Riyadh.
Who's top at bill?
Anthony Yard versus Benavides.
Right, that's a decent fight.
So Moses Itamo, I think early December.
But none of those fights are going to capture the public's imagination.
Oh, I mean, like
as much as
like the casual fans, yeah.
Yeah, then as much as Eubank and Conor Benn. The first fight was a great fight. It had its dramas. Who have we got?
I got you.
What have we got compared to that? We had, back in the day, we had Nigel Benn, who could have them fights. We had Chris Eubank Sr., who could have them fights. We had... Steve Collins to a certain degree was part of that mix. You had Nazim Hamid, you had Frank Warren, you had these people. Yeah, you had Ricky as well. We had four or five of these people who could command that kind of audience, that crossover. We haven't really got that in the UK anymore. We've got Anthony Joshua, but Anthony Joshua hasn't boxed for over a year. We got Tyson Fury as well. He's another one. So realistically, we're now in an environment where we had Tyson, we had Anthony Joshua, we had. And we've got Eubank and Conor. We've got Eubank and we've got Conor Benn. Now we've only really got them, realistically, haven't we? We're not always where are these stadium fights, where are these big marquee fights? There is nobody. So he's kind of got the monopoly at the minute on the audience. You know, it's classed as a big fight. It's capturing the public's imagination again. This time, will Eubank fall to pieces because he was hospitalised last time? Conor Benn finished quite fresh. Will Conor Benn have learned something from that fight? Will he gain more confidence from it? And you know, Eubank, we're further along, another 6 months further on. How can realistically he get better from that rehydration without employing some super nutritionist who's going to tell him how to do it properly. You know, they could almost be an upset.
Well, we'll talk more about that as we get close to the fight. Last question I've got for you, see if you can give me your most honest answer. Obviously, you've been quite, like I think 2 years ago, I've got a quote from you saying EUBANK's finished, he should retire.
Yeah.
But obviously, he's gone on and made millions. We're looking at him now as a character that you see, the stuff he does on camera, winds people up, and obviously he's backed it up in the ring as well, put on a great fight last time. Are you becoming a fan of Chris EUBANK Jr.?
I'm a fan of boxing, and if he's...
Do you like his character and his personality to watch?
Do I like it?
Yeah, and as a fighter?
I don't, you know what, I don't, with any fighter, I don't really get wound up about how they are. I just look at how they fight, and if they can cut it in the ring and fight, then that's what really matters to me, if they can back up what they say they're going to do. And I think I've never been a massive fan of Chris EUBANK Jr. because I think that his name is always going to precede him, even now. But I'll still say this: he's way past the point where he's ever going to be a world champion. And in boxing, yeah, he's made plenty of money. He's made a name for himself. He's a celebrity boxer, whatever he is. But for me, he still hasn't been good enough to be a world champion, to have the credentials or the ability to beat a decent fighter to become world champion.
I'm saying as a fighter that you're being, because you said earlier that there's not many that you want to tune in to watch and not capturing the public's imagination. Obviously, he is. So in that sort of sense, I mean, do you enjoy watching it?
I enjoy the event because it's. I'm not really a fan of Conor Benz, and I'm not really a fan of EUBANK. But it's good for boxing because it's a spectacle and it's great for the fans. Unfortunately, I've just have this way when I look at situations and fights, I kind of look at it for that perspective, that what's it doing for boxing on the whole? How is it going to benefit everybody else? And you've got to have these people in boxing to keep the interest. I would not go to watch Conor Benn and Chris EUBANK in a live fight. I'd watch them on TV. There are some people who go and watching a live fight. So they don't interest me enough to go out of my way to go and watch them in a stadium. No, but I would watch it on TV, yeah.
I suppose that makes sense because you went out to watch Fury Usyk one, didn't
you?
Yeah. Okay, sorted. That's it really. Any news on the bags? I know you had a lot of people email you. Is there like a cut-off date?
Yeah, no, I've already sold about 15 bags. They're still going strong. I might have to put another order in. Just finalising the logo, what I'm having put on, so everybody knows that it's the original heavy bag. So that's going well. I was down at the place yesterday, getting it all finalised. So I should have the bags, at least the sample bag ready in a week's time. We just got to make sure everything's right. But yeah, I've had plenty of orders in. People have paid the deposits, and yeah, it's going well.
So if anybody wants a special Ingle bag, punch bag that was inspired by Brendan Ingle, incredible bags. They're like the smallest, heaviest bags you would ever find. That's the best way I can describe it. And there's an email address that again will be pinned in the comments. You can email Dom on there, or Dom's team should I say, and then you can secure your order now. Thank you very much. That's it, Dom. Anything else?
No, that's it.
Sorted.
And it's crazy to see myself in a game, you know, coming up as a kid playing the fighting games and boxing games and football, just any sports game, just to see yourself, you know, to be able to play yourself. It's crazy to me. Still to this day, you know, sometimes I can't even believe that I'm actually in the game. But, you know, the dreams do come true. Reality sets in, and, you know, we're here.